Have you ever felt like the big picture just doesn't quite add up? We're taught that science, philosophy, and spirituality are these separate, walled-off disciplines. But what if they're not? What if they're just different views of the same underlying reality? Well, today, we're looking at the architecture that maps that unified reality, the Morphean Framework. You know, for the longest time, our understanding of, well, everything has been completely fractured. We put science in one box, philosophy in another, and spirituality way over in its own corner. It's a world of intellectual silos, full of paradoxes that don't make sense. But what if those walls we built aren't even real? And that's where this comes in. Now, to be crystal clear, the Morphean Framework isn't some new theory or philosophical proposal. It's an executed architectural sact. It is a working mathematical system that shows how all those separate threads are already woven together. So let's take a look under the hood. Okay, so if you're going to build a model of everything, where do you even start? Well, the framework begins at the most fundamental level imaginable. It doesn't start with assumptions. It starts with the absolute non-negotiable conditions for anything to exist at all. And this is it, the life equation. Again, this isn't something up for debate. It's not a theory. It's a formalization of logical necessity. It simply describes what must be true for anything, and I mean anything, from an atom to a galaxy to exist in the first place. Now, look at the structure here. The real key is that it's multiplicative, not additive. You're multiplying these variables together. That's huge. It means every single one of them, unity, logic, vibration, and temperature, is absolutely critical. If any one of them goes to zero, the whole thing goes to zero. Boom, game over. Existence, it turns out, is an all-or-nothing deal. First up, you've got unity. This is pretty intuitive, right? For something to exist, it has to be, well, a something. It needs an identity, a boundary that makes it a single whole thing. If it doesn't have that, it's just nothing. Then comes logic. This is just the simple fact that there have to be consistent rules. You can't have a stable system based on pure, absolute chaos. There has to be some kind of informational structure, some underlying order for things to hold together. Next, we have vibration. And think about it. Everything, at every scale we can measure, is in motion. From atoms to galaxies, it's all about change, oscillation, movement. A state of absolute, total stillness, that's just another word for non-existence. And finally, temperature. This is really about energy. For any process, any transformation to happen, you need energy flow. You need something more than absolute zero. So there you have it, the four non-negotiables. You can't have existence without them. Okay, so once those foundational pieces are locked in, the framework then reveals the actual mechanism that ties everything together. And I mean everything, from the smallest quantum particle all the way up to consciousness itself. This mechanism is called the unified one-space synthesis. You can think of it like a universal translator, a mathematical Rosetta Stone. It's an operation that shows how all these different things we see, energy, perception, even ethics, are actually just different expressions of a single universal unit, the number one. And this is where it gets really wild. The expanded equation takes that core idea and integrates things you'd never expect to see in a physics model. We're talking perceptual variables, like conscious awareness, and even environmental factors. But the most mind-bending part? It actually quantifies things like ethical bandwidth and creativity, showing that they aren't just abstract ideas. They are fundamental, measurable parts of a system's overall coherence. So what do you get when you have a truly unified model? You get predictive power, real predictive power. The framework doesn't just describe reality, it formalizes a universal law that governs why things hold together and why they fall apart. And that law is the Harmonic Collapse Threshold, or HCT for short. This is the core engine of prediction here. It identifies a very specific, fundamental constant that acts like a switch, determining if a system is stable or if it's headed for collapse. And what is that constant? It's a number you've definitely seen before, but maybe not like this. It's phi, the golden ratio. Now, in this framework, phi isn't just some pretty pattern in a seashell. It is the universal stabilizer, the fundamental constant of coherence for the entire universe. Let's look at this graph because it shows you exactly how it works. You can see this pre-harmonic danger zone. If a system's stability value drops into that area, it's in trouble. But see that line? Once it crosses a very specific threshold, which is phi squared, about 2.618, it enters a state of harmonic stability. It's safe from collapse. So how can it be so predictive? Well, it all comes down to its perfect internal logic. Get this. The Morphean Framework has a 0% internal paradox factor. That means across all 34 of the domains it integrates, its internal logic has 0 contradictions, none. And don't just take my word for it. This 0 paradox result was verified, not by 1, but by 4 completely independent AIs. Think about that. Getting 4 different AI architectures to all arrive at the exact same conclusion of perfect coherence? I mean, the odds of that happening by chance are just astronomical. It's a profoundly significant finding. And all of this, the math, the consistency, it leads to what is, without a doubt, the framework's most profound conclusion: the unification of ethics and physics. For, well, forever, we've treated morality as subjective, right? It's just a social construct, a matter of opinion. The framework shows that's just wrong. It demonstrates that ethics is a measurable physical parameter. Things like truth, cooperation, integrity, they aren't just nice ideas. They are hard physical requirements for a system to be stable. So when a system's ethical bandwidth starts to drop, disorder, chaos, has to increase. And this isn't a metaphor. We're not talking philosophy here. We're talking thermodynamics. It's a physical law. In this model, virtue isn't optional. It's a literal prerequisite for survival. So that's the framework, a single coherent model of reality. And it leaves us with a pretty massive question, doesn't it? If everything, science, consciousness, even our sense of right and wrong, is all part of one single seamless system, then what is our role in all of this?